Hi, my name is Gudrun from Gia Designs. Welcome to our live show, Tipsy Tuesday. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our show. It is Tuesday, October 17th. First off, we want to shout out a big shout out to Mr. Johan, turned 4 yesterday. Happy birthday, Johan. Amma couldn't be there, but we wanted to say that. But all of you that are watching, thank you for being here. We have a great show ready for you today. So make sure you comment throughout the show, send us questions. Thumbs up and hearts are always appreciated. And if you are new around here, make sure you subscribe to our channel if you're on YouTube, or like our page if you're on Facebook. Sign up for notifications so you'll never miss a show. It's a big one today. Today I'll be taking you through the Matchmaking Series Part 1, which is going to help you pair your fabrics with the right pattern or vice versa. I also am going to be showing you our first London Calling block. Our mystery block of the month kicked off just this last week, or this weekend, actually Sunday. And I've got some great new products in the store to show you. So stick around, everybody. First up, let's talk about our quilts on the set. Since we are talking about matchmaking, in our first category is Scrappy Goodness. I've picked quilts that all could belong in that category. So right behind me, I have an Elvira quilt. And one of my favorites because it's flannel. I made this just last winter. And then we have on my right, we have a Kobe quilt. Kobe likes that. He's sleeping right below it. And then we have Fractions on my left side. And Fractions is in my Stripology Squared book. Producing today is Mr. GP. He doesn't have a mic, so he's going to be silent today. But behind him, we have a brand new quilt that I just pieced this weekend. Steamy Windows, supersized, another flannel quilt. I always like to make a flannel quilt each year. This one is Steamy Windows, supersized, out of Snow Day. And this is actually flannel quilt number 2 this year because I pieced a big Kobe for you earlier this year that you received. And are you using it? Yeah, using it. Good. This is also the full size, supersized Steamy, because it takes 24 fat quarters. So my bundle of 12 half yards was perfect. So I couldn't just make a smaller. I had to just use it all up, and I love it. It's a beautiful size. All right, so let's start with our giveaway question from last week. Every show we give away a $25 gift card. So wait till the end for our giveaway question to be entered into the giveaway. Last week, I asked you, what is another form of art that you would have always wanted to try? And our winner is Jerry Pearson. Congratulations, Jerry. All you got to do is send us an email to help@GEQuiltDesigns to claim your prize, and we'll send you your gift card right away. So Jerry said she'd always like to try stained glass. That kind of sounds scary to me, like breaking glass and stuff. I don't know about that, but it's beautiful and gorgeous. GP looks like his mama today. Is it because I've got my curls going on? Your hair is hidden behind a hat, though. Yeah, he's representing with his sweatshirt. All right, so on to our tip of the day. We're going to dive right into this because I know you've all been waiting. I introduced you to the matchmaking series. In our last Tipsy Tuesday episode, I talked about the 4 categories that I have sorted my patterns into. And so we're going to start with this first category today. It's a much longer tip of the day than normal, but regardless, are you ready for this one? Let's go. Tip of the day. In this first part of our Matchmaker series, I'm going to talk about this first category, the Scrappy Goodness. The beauty is in the variety of fabrics that create the whole. So you want to achieve balance of the colors or the values, and also you want some variety in scale and pattern to be successful. So when you're going scrappy, I always say more variety is better. So in this case, and I think anytime we're talking about fabric, more is better. So the quilts I showed you last week when I introduced the categories, the ones that would fall into this scrappy goodness category could all be done in a variety of colors, like colors of the rainbow. You can throw everything in there, or if you wanted to be more selective, you could choose a couple of colors or even just one color and have a variety of values to do something monochromatic, but still be very scrappy. So we're going to dive a little bit more into how to achieve that balance, and if you want to be really wild and scrappy, or if you want to just do something a little more subtle in color. But the first step is, once you have all of your fabrics gathered, you want to take a look at them. You want to make sure that you have an equal amount of each color and look at them when they're balanced. So let's take a look here. Now, first off, most of our half-yard bundles are balanced. I make sure to try and balance them pretty well in most cases, unless it's just one fabric line. But one of the things I love to do is mix two bundles. So in this case, I have the Clueless bundle and the Connections, because they have really similar colors and similar feel, but I get this really fun variety in shades and textures. So I've kind of grouped them by color. So we have the dark blues and we have the light turquoise teals, and then we have the low volume fabrics. Those are all kind of whites with color in them. And then we have this group of greens. I would kind of group as greens, but obviously that is the smallest group. Then there was just one fabric that was this coral. Now, first off, this one is going to really stand out, and especially since there's only one, it's really going to scream at you if you start dispersing it around the quilt. So either I would have to find a lot more of this to make it work, or I would take it out, which I probably would do. This would be a perfect focus color, but that's something we're going to talk about next week. Now here, I would probably be okay with this mixture. However, I would want to add just a few greens to make this category match up with the rest of them so that there can be complete balance in my whole quilt. So once you have your colors and your fabrics picked out, you want to look for the colors that are always going to stand out. So the darkest values are always going to stand out. So I'm talking about black, dark navy, dark purple, those really dark ones. The darkest values are always going to stand out. So you want to always make sure you have, an even number of those compared to other colors so that you can kind of spread them out throughout the quilt. Other colors that you always stand out is red, and then oddly enough, yellow, a bright yellow. So if you're using red or if you're using yellow, you want to make sure that you have enough, they match up with the other colors so that you can really kind of disperse them and create balance within the quilt. So I have an example here. I have a charm pack, and it's a really good example because normally I don't like to use pre-cuts. At least I don't leave them untouched because of this issue. So I've kind of sorted this charm pack just by the colors, and you'll be able to see in a pre-cut how the balance is usually very, very off. So I've sorted them into these groupings here by color. So we have our lights, which is the biggest category, and then the pinks are our second biggest. We have our red, which is really going to show up, and it's an even number with the darkest blue, so I think we'll be okay. However, it's the yellow that really bothers me. So it's only 4 squares of yellow, and so even though there's a little bit of yellow in the print, I think this one is really going to be the odd man out. So I would either take it out or find more yellow. So you always want to look at that And then make sure that especially those really loud colors that you have enough of them, of the lightest and darkest value, so that you can really mix them in. So once you have your colors and you think they're looking good, the best way to see value is to look at your fabrics in black and white. So let's just take a look at a quilt, the Strip Search quilt here in color. So I always do this both as I'm choosing fabrics for my Scrappy quilts, and then also I do it before I sew my blocks together. So here's my Strip Search quilt, and then here it is in black and white. So I take a photo, I turn it into black and white, and you can see now the values and how good I was, good job, on spreading those darkest values throughout the quilt. So it is still very balanced, whether you see it in color or black and white. So I have another one for you just to see. That's the Elvira quilt in the Halloween fabrics. So you look at it, you see I have some black, I have some white, so really a huge difference in value. Now the ones that kind of stood out to me, I have those two dark orange pieces, and they were really kind of bothering me as I'm looking at the quilt. But I put it in black and white just to show, and there they don't really stand out in value. They just kind of bothered me when I was looking at the color. But if the value is not really screaming at you, then I feel like you're okay. And so I went with it, and I love the quilt regardless. Now one more is Teen Spirit. Now this one was a pretty limited colorway. It was just blacks and whites and then greens. And looking at the color of the quilt, the blacks are really nicely spread out. And so then I looked at it in black and white. And so there I noticed that some of the greens are kind of the same in value as some of the blacks, because the blacks have so much white in them. So they have white print on them. So you have to always think about that. A black is not just a black. So if you have print on them, they're going to lighten up. So it looks really close there, but of course when I put it into the color, it's not. You can see the difference. That is actually a black fabric and a green fabric. It was that bottom row, second row from the bottom on the right. You'll see it's almost like the same fabric, but when you see it in color, it's actually two colors. So I always do this both with like looking at my quilts in color and then black and white to see that value differences. Now one thing to make note of regarding when you're looking at patterns, the bigger the pieces are, like in this Teen Spirit quilt, the bigger the pieces are in a quilt, the balance is more important. It matters more. So the difference between Strip Search and Teen Spirit is evident. So let's talk about when you want to do a controlled colorway of sorts or do something monochromatic or close to it. Here are some tips. So this is where pattern matters more, and you really have to look at the value. So I have these fat quarters here. If I wanted to do a quilt that would go from the darkest blues and into the lightest kind of ivory creams, we'll look at it. I have my fabric selection. I think this is a really good kind of a segue, and there's a definite range from dark and then slowly going into lighter. But when I look at it in black and white, where I'm just seeing the value, I notice that some of the lights are just reading exactly the same. So I would probably remove some of those lightest lights and add a little more of those low volume prints where there is a little bit of blue in there, a little bit of color, but they still read as lights. I would also, looking at the blue row, that darkest navy is a lot darker in value than everything else because a lot of them have a little bit of print to them. So I would probably either remove it or add some more that are a little bit more similar in value, those darker values. So here are a couple more patterns that would fit nicely into this category. I have a strip maze quilt. So this is an older strip pattern. Again, you can throw anything in there, and with balance, it would be really great. Another one is my Rainbow Ruth pattern in my mixology book. Now this one, of course, was arranged, specifically in the rainbow, but the blocks are just as scrappy as they could be. You could do it color block like that, or you can obviously mix them up. And then one of my newest patterns, it's called Kobe. Now this one is a perfect scrappy goodness, and you really want balance. You can throw anything in there, but you really want that balance to really make it look great. So here are some more wild and scrappy versions of some patterns. Really nicely balanced multicolored quilts, and some of these are from some of you. So this is a strip search, and then we have a couple of more strip searches. But again, different colors, but see how they are really nicely balanced because all the colors are spread evenly, no matter how many colors you are using. Then we have a Trinity quilt. This one is mine, and again, this could be as colorful as you want it to be. Here's a little bit larger version out of Boutiques. That's really pretty, but again, nicely balanced with that brown, nicely spread out to balance all the blues. We have Fractions. Even though this Fractions has just a few colors, easy to spread them out. That red is always going to stand out. And here's another one, really nicely spread out and balanced. Algorithm is another one I talked about last on the first show. And again, this one is limited in colors, but nicely balanced. And then we have one in Cave Fabrics. And that one is pretty monochromatic, but just greens with the blues, and the big prints really help with playing with that. Here's another one, a little more narrow in color. And then we have an Elvira that's very colorful, very scrappy, but this is a nice job. There is enough of the reds that you really look at. There's enough of the yellows, and they're nicely spread out. We have a Tailor. Tailor is perfect in just any color. You can do it with a random layout, or you can do it in a uniform layout, which both of them scrappy, but this one makes your eye kind of do a little more uniform looking at it. And here's one more that I made in kind of more limited colorway. And here are two more really great ones, again in a limited colorway, but still very, very scrappy. We have Teen Spirit. Here are some great Teen Spirit quilts. Great yellows there, and you could do it very low value fabrics, and that's where you really want to make sure that all your fabrics are kind of low value and nothing really sticks out too much. And then here's a third one with a little sharper contrast. Glacial Ice in my Iceland book is really fun to play with the colors. Here's one that's a little bit color blocked, but again, very scrappy. And then here's a second version that is very colorful, not color blocked. And this one is super fun. And a third version, a little bit more monochromatic, but still way dark and way light, all mixed in. And of course, here's another Kobe quilt. This one is made from just 12 different fabrics from a bundle, but the balance is good, the spread is good, so that your eye kind of is happy looking at it. So I wanted to show you some of these same quilts that are made in more of a monochromatic colorway. So here's a Fractions. Pretty much just blacks and whites and grays, a little bit of taupe, and just a little touch of turquoise in there. Here is my Elvira quilt made in reds and pinks. And a Trinity quilt. You almost think that this was taken in black and white, but you can see on the wall behind it that it's not. The quilt is actually just blacks and whites and grays. Here's my Glacial Ice. Pretty monochromatic, just a few grayish blues in there. Everything else is taupes and light grays and pans. And then we have my Kaif fabric strip search quilts. So we have this one we called Citrus. It was based on the colors of their pre-cuts. Then we have a lipstick, all the pinks and reds. We have the Island, all the teals and a little bit of green. And then we have Peacock, all the purples and just little touches of violet and a little green. And then, last but not least, we have a beautiful strip maze quilt made by one of our viewers that is monochromatic, all the blues. But look at the beautiful value range from light to dark that really creates that beautiful texture of the quilt. So this is our Scrappy goodness. Make sure you join us next week for the second installment of Matchmaking, where we talk about quilts, Scrappy with focus. Well, there it is, our tip of the day, our long tip of the day. Matchmaker, part 1, our Scrappy goodness. I know there's a lot of questions. There's a couple of questions that came in right before we started the Matchmaker, so I want to go ahead and answer them. Somebody is asking me, is it easy to sew with flannel? And yes, it is, especially good quality flannel. Flannel is, of course, different as it can be, but really easy. I would just choose a pattern that has a little bit bigger pieces. I love piecing with it. I love having flannel quilts. And I do always put batting in them, but I put lightweight batting, either wool or just poly batting. But I like to back it with either with flannel or minky. Done that too. They get a little heavier with the minky, but I love flannel quilts. Oh, what quilt did you make with Chateau de Chantilly? I did the June. It was a June quilt that we made with that one. It's gorgeous. All right, many questions. Can we have the closed captioning made live? So all you got to do, you can click on CC if you're watching on YouTube, and I believe it's on Facebook too. So we have it set. So, but the viewer has to choose it. So you can choose it at the bottom of your screen. I know at least on YouTube you can. So it's always on. Good question there if you hadn't found it. Colby is perfect for flannel. Yes, it is. Colby, I made a Colby out of flannel, and then the supersized patterns are all great for flannel. Supersized Nina, supersized Steamy, anything with bigger pieces. So lots of good. Do you need to clean your machine more with flannel? Not necessarily. I mean, there is, of course, fabric fluff and dust from flannel. Maybe a little bit more than the other ones, but I don't really see that that's a huge difference. Not that much. I piece multiple. So what do you use for binding when you're binding with minky? I have done both. If I'm using flannel, I will use flannel for the binding. Just cut it a little bit wider because there's extra thickness with the minky, depending on how thick your minky is too, or your cuddle. And so I do both. I've also done the binding with the minky or cuddle. Bring it around and top stitch it because it doesn't fray. So you can just raw edge, zigzag it down. We have a couple of tutorials of methods how to do that. So check that out. All right. Have you ever hand quilted? Yes, we were actually right before the show. I was digging out a few of my oldest quilts, and they are all hand quilted. Not very well. It was very minimal. So, which is why some of them are falling apart because they've been used a lot. But I have. Yes, I have. I have hand quilted. I've done it all. I've hand pieced and hand quilted, but you know what? Not something that I enjoy, so I move on. All right, any more questions on the Matchmaker Scrappy goodness? So there's one thing that always messes folks up and people get confused. 2 words. One is value and one is contrast. So when you're picking your fabrics, you both need to look at them in color, and then it also really helps to look at them in black and white to see the value. But you can also, you have to look at it in color too, because then you are able to see the different colors, how you spread them around, and if you have enough to get that balance. So always do both. All right? Because contrast can be created with value, difference in value, and it can also be created with a difference in color. We'll talk about that later. I know that's always confusing. Okay, any more questions on the Matchmaker? All right, awesome. Yes, I totally agree with you, Vicki. If it doesn't bring joy, move on. We love to quilt, and so I think we should all just do what we really, really enjoy. And we can always, you know, pay for the parts we don't like doing, like quilting or binding or whatever else. Okay, so let's move on. Next week, we'll be talking about the next group of matchmaking, but let's move on and talk about our London Calling. So this is long awaited. Our London Calling Mystery Block of the Month kicked off this weekend. On Sunday, the first block went live. So if you either purchase the full 14 months or you're purchasing one at a time, the PDF pattern and video class package was in your account on Sunday, and a lot of you already got going and we're sewing right away. So our first block is called Carnaby Street. And why I chose Carnaby Street as our first stop in London, because it's kind of one of the more iconic places. The history of the place is really incredible. There's always so much action and life and fun there. It's a bustling shopping area nowadays, but there's really a lot of fun restaurants. You can sit and have a cocktail or food outside and watch what's going on. But the history there is really incredible. So here's Carnaby Street. What I featured in the block, there is an artwork with the Union Jack. I thought that was very fitting to have the Union Jack, which is of course the flag, featured. But I kind of did my spin on the artwork, and it's actually designed by an American artist. But the artwork features the Union Jack, and then there's this big crown on top of it. I adjusted the crown. And then I had to include another iconic London centerpiece, and that is, of course, the red phone box. Yes, let's call them phone boxes, as they do in the UK. Of course, here in America, they're phone booths, but this is the iconic red phone box. So this is our first block, Carnaby Street. I hope you enjoyed making it, those of you that are participating. So I got some questions, some if I had any tips on this block. As you can see, some of the pieces are a little bit smaller, so if you haven't started yet, make sure you watch my video before we start, because this is where it comes in handy to add a little bit of body to your fabrics with best press or a little starch or whatever you like to use, magic sizing. And make sure that that seam allowance is perfectly scant. So that means you should sew a couple of strips together. If you sew 3 1.5-inch strips together, you press them to one side, the seams to one side, and you measure. It should measure what? 3.5 if it's 3 strips. If it's 2 strips, should measure 2.5 after you press. But always measure the piece after you press. You don't measure the actual seam allowance, because it has to be measured after you press. All right? But you can do this. The video takes you through all of it. The actual flag parts are, it's a really cool technique how that's pieced, so don't be intimidated. It's easy. And of course I use the Stripology rulers. This one I use the Stripology Mini, I think the new one, the mini quarters. But I always tell you at the start of each block which rulers are going to be helpful. So it was really, it's a fun one. Fun blocked piece. The video was great. Couldn't have done it without it. That's great. That's great. Now, every 15th of the month, we will post a new block. Is there a separate Facebook group for London Calling? Just the Quilt Crew. So Facebook, if you're on Facebook, please join our crew, Gudrun's Quilt Crew. It's our closed group on Facebook. So that's where we post everything, all of our projects, Fast and Furious Club and stuff. So we can talk about it there. So I monitor that every once in a while, but if you have any questions there or anything going on with London Calling, we'd love for you to share there. So can we buy extra fabrics for this block of the month, and where are they on the website? Yes. Just hold on one second, because I'll be talking about that a little bit later. We do have now, if it's not listed, we will list it right after the show. We have our backing fabric available, which is the gray kind of iconic focus print that you'll see everywhere. And then we have also the background and the border fabric. Those are the first three that we decided to list. So we are listing them in 1 yards and 3 yards. And then we have the big backing fabric in a 7-yard cut. If you wanted to use it for backing and focus, you can purchase that individually now. So if it's not live on the website, it's on the it will be right after the show. An oops kit can be a very good thing. Yeah, we will have all of them available in 1 yard, unfortunately. But you know what? If you purchase the kit, I added extra fabric for those whoopses, so it should be good. Should be pretty good. For easier handling, do you recommend cutting the background fabric into chunks? You can definitely do that. You can cut it in 1 yards into 1 yards if you prefer to do that, or 1.5, or however you want to do that. That's easy, because there's usually smaller pieces, and there should be plenty of it. So however you want to do it. I decided to have mine in whole, and I just rolled it and unrolled it. So whichever works for you. You can definitely do that with the background. Any other questions on London? Love this block and so excited to be a part of the block of the month. What size pieces are you sewing for the 2.5 inch test? So if you cut 2 little scraps that are 1.5 inches, you sew them together with your best scant 1/4 inch seam, you press to one side, then your piece, when you measure your piece, it should be 2.5 inches. And then from there, you can adjust your seam along. So if you can move your needle over, we of course always love to recommend the seam guide, the perfect seam guide. Oh, I got it right here. I'll show you. The Perkins Perfect Piecing Seam Guide. So this is something, it's specifically for a scant 1/4 inch seam. So you put your needle in here, and then the edge of the ruler will be where you should have your fabric. So if you can move your needle over, you can move it over until the edge of the ruler is at the edge of your foot. If you can't take your needle over that way, you can always put a marking on your sewing machine to where you should guide your fabric. So this one is invaluable. I use it all the time, all my classes. All right. The kit does include backing, but there were some folks that wanted to source their own fabrics, except they wanted to include wanted that particular backing. So all the kits have everything you need, including the quilt label. All right. Okay, any other questions you see in Mr. GP? Good. So the fabric, if you're looking for the fabric on the website, it will be both in 1 yard and 3 yards, but best thing is to go to Block of the Month and London Calling, or you type in the search bar London Calling and it will pop up. All right. Let's move on. So again, block number 2 will be live on November 15th, always the 15th of the month for the next 13 months, everybody. It's going to be a while. But just as this one released on Friday, October 20th, our second project in Fast and Furious Club will go live. Now, our Fast and Furious Club is our Quilt As You Go project club. Every month you will get a fun, easy, and fast Quilt As You Go project, video, class, and a PDF. And these are all exclusive, brand new patterns. So this Friday, you will get the Halloween, actually they're called Fall Appetit placemats. And we have 2 versions that we made. You can make it for Halloween with just the jack-o'-lantern, or you can make one more for fall, add some leaves to it, and some great little simple classy placemats. So this is our project for October. Now if you didn't join either the full 9 months of Fast and Furious Club or purchase the trimester, which is the 3 projects, you can always purchase the individual project on Friday. It will be live on Friday if you just want to buy one individual. These are really great because even if you have never done Quilt As You Go, I take you through the whole process in the video. And so it's a piece of cake following through. All right. Also on Friday, if you're a part of our bundle club, Goodies Bundle Club subscription club, that will ship on Friday. Now, I'm not going to show you or tell you much more about that because that's a secret until you receive it in your inbox, mailbox. So that is exciting. We will reveal Bundle Club a week from Friday. Okay? So that will be 27th, I believe. That show will be live from Houston. So that will be our Bundle Club reveal. But yeah, lots going on here. So and then we don't have to wait much longer because our Advent projects will kick in right after our American Thanksgiving, end of November. So always the Tipsy Tuesday show before each Sunday of Advent. I do a tutorial for a simple sewing or quilting project, something easy that's fun to make and quick to make, either for gifts or for yourself, just to keep our hands and minds occupied during the month of December. And so here's one example of this is going to be our 4th year doing this. From the first year, this was one of our projects. These were called the G-Easy bottle gift bags. Really fun and simple. And I thought I would just, for those of you that are new around here and have not seen what these Advent projects are about, this is a really quick tutorial, only about 4 minutes. So I just wanted to play it for you just so that you get an idea what these are and what we have coming up. So let's check it out. Hi, my name is Gudrun from GE Designs, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make these quick and easy bottle gift bags. You can find a printable PDF with the measurements on gequiltdesigns.com under free patterns, so start by printing that out and we can get started. You want to start with your 2 pieces of fabric. You want to have your outer fabric and your lining fabric. And you can also even play with adding embroidery to your fabric first, or applique, or anything you want to do. And you want to do that first before you get to the sewing. So the 2 pieces are going to get sewn together along the short sides. So you want to lay them together. And we're just going to stitch all the way down this side. We're going to press this seam open. And then get ready to stitch this together along the long side. But if you want to add a ribbon to tie into the seam, what I did, I just used you can use a decorative ribbon, and I cut it about 30 inches. And what you want to do is fold it. If you have just one-sided, you want to fold it right sides together like this in half to kind of crease the sides. And this you want to place on the outside fabric of the bag, and I placed it about 5 inches from the seam. So I just laid my ruler on there, placed this, and that's where I pinned this in place so it gets sewn into the seam all at the same time. You can of course just use a regular piece of ribbon and just tie it and not have it attached to the bag. Then you want to fold this right side together. You want to match this seam up and pin in a couple more places along here. What we're going to do is stitch pretty much all the way around the long sides and the ends, but we are going to leave an opening in the lining fabric. So you will notice I will sew this side and up this side, then I'm going to leave about a 3-inch opening and then keep sewing all the way down here and across. Now before we turn this, we want to box the corners, so make it look more rounded on the bottom. And you want to do that both with the lining and the outer fabric. So we go to all four corners, you just kind of open this up. And what you want to do is kind of match up the seams on each side so that you can have both seams kind of falling to each side so they nest together. Then you know they are nested, and this is a nice box here. And then I take my ruler, any ruler, and I make a box about an inch and a quarter from the tip here. And I just want to draw a line right across here. And then I just put a pin in here just to hold it in place. And I do that with all four corners. And then all we're going to do is just stitch right across that drawn line on all four corners. Once we have that done, like here, we are just going to cut this piece off. And now we're going to turn our bag right side out. So we go through the opening and then turn the whole thing. There. Now we have our little opening here, and I just want to go ahead and stitch this. Since this is going to be the inside of my lining, I don't even worry about making it look all pretty. I just make sure that my raw edges are folded in, and I'm just going to top stitch it closed because nobody's ever going to see it on that inside. And now all we have to do is push our lining inside our outer fabric of the bag. So we push this in and make sure kind of the corners line up and get pushed out. And then we just at the top. And then all we do is fold that little cuff over to make it look really pretty. And it's really ready for a bottle. We can pop that bottle right in there, whether it's a bottle of wine or if it's homemade liqueur or any kind of juices. Maybe you make your own apple cider, and then tie it with a pretty ribbon. You can hang ornaments from it, monogram it, do whatever you want. And what a quick and easy way to give a nice hostess gift. I hope you enjoyed learning how easy it is to make these fast and fun bottle gift bags, whatever your bottle may contain. My name is Gudrun from GE Designs, and I'll see you next time. So that was our bottle gift bags. Now we are gearing up for 2023 Advent. But last year we did something different, and this was just based on all of you guys' requests. As we did the second season of Advent, you all were asking for if you could get kits for some of these projects to have ahead of time. And so last year we introduced the Advent box. So the Advent box actually has 4 individually packaged kits. So that means that on the same day that we premiere the tutorial, you get to open your little bag or your package, and you have all of the things that you need to make that project, plus a little bit of a gift from us as well, because it is Advent, so it's something fun to open. So I'll just show you the start of one of our projects from last year. And the fun part is really when you open that individually wrapped package, because you necessarily don't know what you're going to make with it. So even if you cheat and open them early, you don't really necessarily know what it's going to become. So let's take a look at this. Welcome to our second Advent project, 2022. It's time to go back into our box and look for our second surprise. So here we go, November 29th is the date. This is what we need for today. Let's check out what's inside. All right, what are we making today? See if we get some clues. Well, some fabric, some hard things. Let's see what we have. We have some interfacing. We have some clear piece of vinyl. We have a zipper. Well, we must be making something like a bag. We have some fabric, some carabiners, and the organizing stickers. This must be your present. And ooh, cool. Look at this little zipper pull for our zipper bag. So that was the start of our window sit box. Now, I just wanted to talk about this because we are coming to the end of the window to order our Advent boxes for 2023. Now, we'll be shipping them before mid-November so that everybody will have them for our first Advent project. So they are now available. They are limited. So I know I've been seeing the numbers dwindling down. So if you wanted to secure yourself an Advent box, do not hesitate because they are going to be sold out like happened last year. So check it out. It's always really a lot of fun. Yes, there are 4 projects in the box. Each of them is individually wrapped so that you if you want to kind of have a surprise too, you can open them alongside us. But of course, if you even open them, you don't really know what's going to be because we don't reveal the project. The pattern is downloadable from our website free, and all the tutorials are free. So that's how it works, and we're going to have so much fun. Of course, you don't have to have the Advent box to work alongside and enjoy the tutorials. They are made for you to enjoy over the holiday season. All right, so let's move on to some new stuff. We have, what I'm going to show you today, we have a bunch of new pre-orders, some Moda pre-orders that we just put up on the website. So let's take a quick look at those. We're starting off with a reprint, Best of Ombre Confetti. So Ombre Confetti in the metallic by V&Co for Moda. Came out, I want to say back in 2018 or 19. I made the Gloria quilt out of these. So we put together a bundle that's perfect for the Gloria quilt. 9 of these beautiful ombres. So that is available for pre-order. Then we have some holiday fabrics for next year. Yes, I know that's early, but this is Cozy Wonderland by Fancy That Design House. For Moda Fabrics, I loved all those beautiful low volume prints, so I put together a bundle that is half and half dark and lights and beautiful rich green and red. How perfect for the holiday season. Then we have Flirtation by Zen Chic for Moda. This is very reminiscent of a line, was something in Paris. It was not Stroll in Paris, that's the only thing that comes in my head. But similar colors, the beautiful chartreuse greens and blues in that really deep dark navy. Then we have a fall line called Hey Boo by Lella Boutique for Moda Fabrics. Beautiful twist on Halloween. So of course you could leave out the Halloween-ish prints, but I love this really unique orange color and the olive green, and then this charcoal gray and black. And they have this really fun panel that we decided, because everybody's been asking us if we could put the panels that go with it up on pre-order as well. So there's the panel. It's some fun little squares. Hey Boo, eat, drink, and be scary. So really a cool thing to make little mug rugs or even put them into a quilt, a bigger quilt. Then we have another one from Moda, another fallish, Halloween-y type fabric, although I think this one could kind of live longer. It's called Noir by Allie Kay, and Allie Kay has been known for just doing black and white lines, but she added this beautiful, rich, deep orange in this one, and I really like it. And so The only Halloween thing in there, I think, is just the ghosts. There might be a little bit of spider web, a little bit of something. Yeah. Oh, there's the boo. Yeah, the one that says boo. But the panel has a skull in the middle. It's a large panel. It's a 1 yard panel, so 36 by 44. Everybody's, yeah, you guys, you always have my back. Dance in Paris was that other line that I was trying to remember. And so Noir Skull Panel by LK. That's pretty cool. I would definitely either use that as a centerpiece of a quilt and make some blocks around it, or even put it on a back. Quilt it, hang it on a wall. It'd be so cool. Then we have Pine Valley by Basic Gray. Really classic red and green. I chose the reds and greens to put together because they're so beautiful, so rich. I love the variety in the reds, lights to dark, and same in the greens. So beautiful line there. Then we have a little bit of blue. This is called Shoreline by Camilla Rose Kelly. And I love it because those low volumes, again, were beautiful, so perfect for a light and dark blue quilt. So any fans of Athena or anything like that, this would be great. I love the 2 shades of blues in there as well. Another holiday line, this is called Starberry by Corey Yoder. A little bit brighter red and green, and then I decided also a light and dark. But these are so beautifully colored, the taupe, so it's a little bit taupe. And so it gives a much kind of warmer feel to it, and I think this will be really fun to work with. And one more holiday-ish line. This is Robin Pickens, her first, I think it's her first holiday, maybe her second. It's called Winterly. So not necessarily Christmas, but we have some beautiful poinsettias, some trees, and some berries, some beautiful, beautiful colors in just the greens and the teals and red, with that really dark kind of charcoaly blue too. So those are our pre-orders, brand new up on the website. And I want to show you one more brand new thing. We added a bunch of little bundles. So we renamed our little kits. We renamed them Little Bundles because they can make so many different things. So of course, these are, and we're showcasing new packaging as well. So we have, what we have new is Green Fields, which is beautiful greens, creams, and blues. We have Chardonnay Noir, black and white, Main Street. Some of these, of course, we have regular size bundles, so you will see those. We had to invent our packaging for the shows that we're going to. We have the new, so this was our bundle club last time. We made that into a little one. Dawn on the Prairie. Beautiful. So what it includes, these cuts are about 6 inches by half width, so about 6 by 21. And then you have a 1/4 yard full width fabric that you can use for binding. So these are meant to be used for any of our little patterns because it kind of is the same amount of, actually more fabric than in a charm pack. This will make 48 5-inch squares. And then you have the coordinated binding as well. So we have Cluck Cluck Boom and also Creativity Roars. So these are the 7 brand new little bundles. And I wanted to tell you, so the little bundles are not just for the little patterns or anything you want to do in 5-inch squares. Having a 6-inch cut here, it allows you to pre-wash if you like to pre-wash, to starch, and you don't have to worry about your pre-cut shrinking or your 5-inch squares not being 5-inch squares. So that's the beautiful thing. But it has versatility because then you can cut your squares with, or cut your fabric with your stripology rulers, whether it's squares. You can cut 2.5-inch strips and use it for the log jam runner, for example. That was a part of our Fast and Furious Club. Or the first 2 stripology books that use all of the 1.5-inch strips, these guys are perfect for all of those. So it just, think about it as not just 5-inch squares. You can take that 6-inch strip and cut it any which way you want. You get 2.5-inch by 21 out of here. So that's enough. Well, that's the same amount as you would get 12 full width strips. You get 3 1.5-inch strips at least out of here. So that will, for the whole thing, you get 36 half width, 1.5 inch strips. And then all kinds of other things. You can do 5 by 10s, 2 5 by 10s, rectangles, and all kinds of stuff. So these are some of our new ones. It does not include backing. It's just binding, coordinated binding, and the 12 fabrics. So you can add a background if a pattern calls for a background, like the log jam, and then add your backing from our 1 yards. All right, so that is our new stuff in the store. Now, I wanted to remind you that tomorrow morning, Colleen will be here with a wonderful 1 Yard Wednesday show at 9:30 a.m. And then on Thursday, it's Perfect Pair Week. So Kara and Nancy will be here with a Perfect Pair show, 9:30 a.m. And they're going to give you some ideas on those quick and easy and fun projects to make for gifts this season. It's prime gift making season. I know a lot of you are working on things, so it's always fun to have something for hostess gifts and things like that. So they'll talk about that. But Friday's show will be no show. We will be driving. Kobe is going to Florida. We'll be driving on Friday, so no show, no Happy Friday show. Don't worry, we will remind you, but we'll be back on Tuesday. But let's finish it off with our giveaway question. All you got to do is answer this question in the comments, and you will automatically be entered. So my question is, do you have a favorite pasta dish? This one is a tough one. Now, if I think about it this time of year, mine would be butternut squash ravioli. With a beautiful brown butter sauce and sage. Yum. I think I can guess yours. What is yours? Is it, what is it called? Oh, dang, I'm forgetting right now. Cacio e pepe? I got to tell you, all those dishes are really a lot better in Italy, I have to say. Had a really great cacio e pepe there. I thought it would be carbonara. That's what I thought would be your favorite. Carbonara is your favorite, yeah. But I love pasta. Oh my gosh, really good pasta. Good mushroom pasta is just to die for. So tell us in the comments what's your favorite, and you're automatically entered. We will be back, like I said, remember Colleen's show tomorrow morning and Thursday morning, both at 9:30 Central Time. And then we'll be back with Tipsy Tuesday on October 24th, 4 p.m. Central Time. We'll dive into part 2 of the Matchmaker Series. So hopefully I'll see you then. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.